Right, so today I wanted to talk about something interesting I seen from David Jacobs saying Greece has always been held up as an example of a nation with unsustainable debt. Trudeau has pushed our debt levels higher than Greece's. Think about it. And this is the debt to GDP among, or sorry, debt as a percentage of GDP among developed nations. Japan in first at 433%, Canada 352, Greece 343, the UK 303, the US 281, Australia 256, Germany 200. So, um, yeah, I mean, the point here is rather should be rather obvious to people is that the amount of debt we have right now is completely unsustainable. And the most unsustainable thing about it is that the government's way of dealing with debt is more debt, right? Because again, like just to kind of briefly bring it up, that for people that don't understand how debt and the monetary system works, when the government wants to borrow money, it doesn't borrow money in the way people think, and that when the government borrows money, it has to borrow money from a central bank at interest, right? So for every dollar the government the government borrows, sorry, um, it needs to be paid back with interest, right? So this is the thing people don't understand, and this is stuff you should be taught in school too, and that um, I mean, just imagine if, I mean, it's very funny because, the leftists of the world out there and all that kind of stuff, they constantly complain about unfair business models and corporate corruption and all this stuff, but yet it's very funny. They never complain that, um, the way the monetary system works is that there's private institutions, at least in the States. In the States, you got the Fed, right? You got the Fed, which is a private institution, and its business model is we're going to loan money to the government, which needs to be paid back in full with interest. And they have no oversight. They can't be audited. All of that kind of stuff, right? Like it's very funny. The left never complains about that stuff. Like you want to talk about corporate corruption, that takes it to a whole new level. Um, but anyway, as far as Canada goes, like I say, we got the Bank of Canada and all that stuff. But the main point here is, like I brought up too, the amount of debt we have is unsustainable. Um, and it's not necessarily the amount of debt we have right now. It's the fact that the way the government pays for debt is with more debt. And the way that governments get reelected, specifically the left wing ones, but the right is getting worse and worse, for this as well, is to buy votes. So what they'll do is, I mean, it should be very obvious to most people, but what they'll do is they'll say, not only will we continue to give the amount of free stuff we're giving you right now, we're going to increase the free stuff. And again, the way that that's usually paid for is with borrowing money. Right? There's a lot of people out there dumb enough to think that, oh, you just raise taxes on the rich, you can give away unlimited free stuff. But again, they're so those kind of people are so economically illiterate. It's not even funny, because anyone with half a brain should know that. And again, I've made a video about this. It's the concept of the Laffer curve, and that it's an economic principle that every single economist in the world would agree with. It's just a matter of where they put it, in that, again, when you increase taxes, you don't necessarily increase revenue, and there will come a point to where you can increase taxes as much as you want, and you won't increase revenue at all, right? And this is just the basic proof you need that the leftist mantra, the socialist mantra, is wrong. In that their mantra is very simple. Oh, all we need to end poverty and to give people unlimited free stuff is just have 80, 90 marginal tax rates on the rich. What they don't understand is that that's far beyond the point of no return. And that, I mean, let's just take a basic number. Let's say 50%, uh, whatever you want to set the number at, right? Let's say the current marginal tax rates for these people is 50%, and the Laffer curve shows that anything above 50%, you're going to have diminishing returns. And let's say anything above, I don't know, 70%, you're going to get nothing more. So you're essentially like wasting, like you're literally like it would literally be the equivalent to taking money from the rich and burning it, or like literally destroying it, right? So increasing taxes is not the solution to this stuff. The solution is cutting spending, right? And people are probably wondering, well, how has this gotten so out of control, and what's the solution? Well, the solution and why it's gotten out of control is they're one and of the same, because the solution is very clear. We have to cut spending, because raising taxes isn't going to fix the problem. Are these people genuinely saying that if we raise taxes, we're going to raise taxes and we're going to put it entirely towards paying down the debt until the debt is gone? If that's what the proposal was, then I would consider it. I mean, I would. I mean, I don't even support the concept of taxation in the first place, but if that's what the proposal was, at least I could respect that. But that's never what the proposal is. The proposal is always, we're going to raise taxes so we can spend more. Right? So it just shows the insanity of the average person and the average politician. So the solution is very clear, that we have to spend within our means. I mean, if it was up to me, I would simply write into the Constitution and have severe penalties for breaking it, um, in being very simple, and that you, as a government, both federal and provincially, you have to balance the budget. I mean, I would probably set it as, yeah, you vote to not balance the budget, you not only do you lose your job, but you get jail time. Like, we need to start taking this stuff seriously. We need to start taking it seriously. I don't understand why it's such a hiccup for people. No, the hiccup for people tends to be, oh, if we cut spending, then poor people are going to die, or some doomsday hyperbolic nonsense they bring up. Well, we have one of two scenarios here. The first one is we cut spending a little, we suffer a little bit in the here and now. Yeah, some people are going to suffer, or we continue to kick the can down the road until the system completely implodes and massive amounts of people suffer. Which one would you prefer? A little bit of people suffering, or a ton of people suffering? Now, obviously, everyone's going to say a little bit of people suffering, but is that going to change their mind on this stuff? No, it isn't. Because the average person is so dumbed down these days, is that they have no ability to defer gratification. They have no ability to think critically. And because of that, we're going to suffer massively in the future. And the worst thing about it, too, is that there's no way. It would be one thing if this is temporary, too. Like, no, this is not temporary. This is going to destroy Canada. I don't understand why it's such a big hiccup for people. Like, are people really this naive? No, I do think a lot of people are, but I don't know. Like, is it that many people? I don't know. But at the end of the day, this is going to destroy Canada, right? This is going to destroy Canada. Um, People don't seem to realize it. Like I say, people seem to think, oh, we just raise taxes. Raising taxes, again, basic economics, people. You raise taxes. Where does the taxes come from? Oh, it comes from the general public. What would the general public do if the money wasn't taxed away? Oh, they would spend the money. So you didn't get any further ahead. You didn't get any further ahead. Either way, that money ends up in the economy. Like, the only way the people that think that raising taxes helps the economy so much would be right would be if there's this horrible problem out there these days of people hoarding cash under their mattress. Does anyone do that anymore? No. People either have money in the bank, in a bank account, in which the bank lends out the money ends up in the economy, or two, they might invest it, which means the money ends up in the economy, or three, they spend it in some other way. Either way, you're at the same place. Why does it need to be taxed? Not only that, when the money is taxed, the government and the bureaucrats need to take their cut. So if anything, you're worse off. So again, like, people's lack of understanding of, like I say, just basic economics, and just basic critical thinking is so staggering and terrible these days. It's really not even funny. Like I don't understand how people can genuinely be this ignorant. It really boggles my mind. But here we are. So again, the point here is very simple: is that if we don't get a handle on this debt, it is going to destroy us. I mean, look at Greece. Greece was this great country up until they actually got caught on this, and then things were terrible in Greece because of it. Right? Greece, I think the retirement age was what, like 60? They had this great, all this free government stuff, and how they did it was financed through debt. And here's the thing, for all the people that think that this is sustainable, okay, well, why don't you go to the bank, take out the biggest line of credit you can possibly get, spend that money? Why aren't your credit cards maxed out? Do you have a line of credit on your, or a lot, equity on your house? Why don't you tap into that? But do people do that? No, the people that do that are considered insane. So why is it different when it comes to the government? Well, the government can borrow at a better rate. Well, who cares? We're over $1 trillion in debt. Who cares what rate we can borrow at? The money still has to be paid back in full. It doesn't matter. They're borrowing at 0.25%. They're paying interest on it over $1 trillion. Even at 0.25%, the interest on the debt on over $1 trillion. Again, do that. Do that math. I mean, in Ontario, the provincial and the federal debt per person per year is like $1,400. Again, another thing these people need to ignore is that because of their greed, $1,400 a year is taken from every person. Just imagine if you had that much. That's more than $100 a month. Again, for a lot of people, that's peanuts, but for most people, that's not. Right? Like it's just, we live in very crazy times. I guess that's where I'll leave it. So anyway, that's what I wanted to bring up today. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you check out those links below. Follow me on those other platforms. If you haven't, or sorry, if you want to donate, you can do that as well. Again, I would very much appreciate whatever support I can get. But like I said, at the very least, check out those links and stay tuned for more.